All right, we are live today with the next episode of the Furry Raiders podcast. My name is Jolt, chief host of the show, and joining me today, as usual, is our co-host, Avira.
Hey everybody, it's me, the candy corn doggo.
And second of all, we have a special guest today joining us, and he is Khord Kitty.
Meow. Meow, 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 meow. Hi, I'm Khord Kitty. I'm not a furry Raiders. I was just invited. Okay, just wanted to say that first. But yes, hi, I'm a kitty. Meow, meow, meow. I was invited, and I'm like, okay, this seems fine. Okay, let's do it.
It's all good though. I
Sweet.
mean, we basically call in people when they've got quite a few interesting bits and bobs to say. That's why you're here.
Yes, many interesting bits and bots indeed.
Oh, and I should also introduce my son. His name is Damien. He's a cat, but you'll probably hear him in the background. But he sometimes talks a little bit. Sometimes he'll just be baby
Wait,
babble.
wait a minute, he's a cat, so your wife is a bunny, and you're a cat, and you had a cat.
Well, a kitten. So kitten actually is the name of both a
dominant.
baby cat and a baby rabbit.
Is it really? I did not
Yes.
know that. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, wow, okay. Well, good.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
He's my kitten, and when he grows up, he'll be a cabin. So there you go.
Nice.
Or he's gonna resent his parents and the whole fandom. He'll be like, "Oh God, my parents are into the furry things. They're so weird. Thank God I turned into a jock."
Well, all right.
And he'll grow up to beat up furries.
I'd hope so though, but you know how it is with people.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I certainly am. I haven't been doing a lot of podcasting stuff lately because, so I have my own podcast, Furry's Greatest Podcast in the World, but I haven't released any episode for a very long time because the software that I used to record it with is not functional anymore, and I have my baby, so I just don't have time to set up all the equipment with the computer. But hey, I might start doing my podcast on this thing. This thing seems awfully convenient.
It is. Yeah. All right, Khord. So, would you like to start by talking a little bit about you? I mean, all your different hobbies, because I mean, you've done a lot in this fandom for many years, inside and outside as well. So, if you want to just give a little rundown of some of the things that you're involved in.
Sure thing. Well, I first found out about furry websites and stuff in 2001, and then I started joining fur meets and furry cons and stuff in 2008. And the stuff I do is, well, first I started to I got the ears, got the tail, got all that stuff, and then in 2013 I saw my first fursuit dance competition, and it was just a surreal experience. I had never been exposed to anything quite like that, and I really enjoyed it. And it kind of like what I did was I was like, oh man, I don't know how to dance very well. It'd be cool if I could dance just like that. Oh well, and I just sort of fantasized myself doing fursuit dance competitions in my head for a year, and then finally I got an opportunity. I had somebody who was a fursuit maker who had a really good price, and then I joined my first fursuit dance competition. It was in New Jersey. It was the Joyzy. So this was the Furfinity United in
Wait,
2014.
wait a minute. Oh, dude, I was telling Jolt about this before. This is the one where you roomed with me at FAU, and yeah, and you, I think, did you win that one?
I got second place. I was very lucky. I was shocked.
Oh, that's crazy.
For
Oh, wow,
for a
awesome.
first timer, that's actually
Yeah, that's
And the
amazing.
craziest thing, like, I don't know anything about choreography at all. All I did is I went in the roof of my apartment in New York City, and I had a friend of mine make a mix. I just played that mix over and over, and then I just kind of like tried to figure something out, and it was incredible luck. I was very, very happy it turned out well. The guy who won was a Mosey, and Mosey has won at Anthrocon before. So yeah, Mosey's a very skilled dancer. He's, I think, the mate of Dancing Duke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. But now it's not just luck though, because you've been in first place at least 7 different times. You've been in second place at least 3 times, and a top finalist over 30 times at like different conventions over the course of your whole experience. So it's really like, is it like, did you develop certain skills or did you just be yourself? Like how does that really work? Did you develop
It,
choreography?
Well, basically, like I do have some background in musical theater dance. Like I did the children's theater show when I was 10 years old. Like when I was 10, they had this. So it was the Jewish telling of the Jewish story of Esther, and I think that might also be in the Bible too. But yeah, I was in part of my synagogue. I was a good little Jewish boy, and I played the part of Jew. Like that was the name of the part, Jew. So
Very,
I
very,
did that
very
part.
respectful and distinct. How will we
Yeah,
ever
and then I
figure you
just
out?
kept doing musicals, and I got really interested in music, and then I went through college, and my major was music composition, so this really connects with everything. Like I did a lot of piano playing there, and then when I first got into dance, I kind of like visualized like that there was a piano around me, and I kind of thought like, okay, maybe like my hands are like keys playing at particular times, and that's kind of the philosophy I got kind of going into it. But I mean, if anyone's seen my performance, like if you're a professional dancer, you know that I'm just wiggling around up there making stuff up on the spot most of the time.
So
I
I
mean,
was, yeah.
it works. Whatever you're doing is working.
I mean, people do it a lot. They do it frequently that they freestyle stuff and improvise, right? Like that's kind of how most furry dance routine. I'm going to assume that's how most furry dance routines work. Or is that a bad guess?
Well, let's see. Some people they improvise. Some people they don't improvise. Like actually, like so, I've been keeping track of like who's been getting all the like how many wins, and the one other furry who also has 7 wins is Atsu Fox, and he's a professional dancer. He has students. He is a very intricate choreographer. He is a great example of just an expert choreographer. So if you want to go to a really really good dancer, check out Atsu Fox's dances. And that is an example of the opposite of me. Like he doesn't like always do improvisation at every time. Like I pretty much always do improvisation, and he always does really good new style hip hop choreography, and it's really it's good, but it's different. It is different. It looks a bit more planned.
Well, yours looks very planned as well, considering your background in theater. Like, I've seen a lot of videos, and of course, you in person. Whenever there's a song playing, you like tell a story with it. You're not just dancing randomly; like you're actually moving with the music and doing something in sync with it, which is really interesting. And I mean, it does not look like it's not choreographed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it looks like you really did plan everything out, even if maybe you didn't. I think
And that
that's
all
really
has
cool.
to that all has to do with just my mindset. I kind of like to think about purpose and like, all right, if I'm going to do a dance move, I want it to be connected to the lyrics. Like, I mean, it's really hard for me to dance to songs that don't have any lyrics. Um, like I like telling a story. That's whatever, all connected to musical theater style dance. And but yeah, no, absolutely. I want to have purposeful movement, and that's kind of what I do going into it.
Yeah, guys. I don't know if anyone has seen this, but you can type in on YouTube. He did a a dance to "Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared," and like one of the songs from that show, he actually danced to it, which is pretty cool. And
I
like,
think that was for Apocalypse 2015. Oh, actually, no. You know what? I've done "Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared." I think 3 or 4 times.
yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool, and it really does look like you're telling the story. Like it's amazing.
Thank you. I'm just like, I love that I have a chance to like perform for others. Like I've been sort of thinking about this for a while. If you really think about it, if you're an actual dancer, at what point could you actually show off your stuff like in front of an audience? Like when do you have that opportunity? Like when I used to live in New York City, when it came to like gigging and like playing piano or stuff, you literally had to pay to perform. You couldn't just go to an open mic. You had to pay to be on stage. And so like this opportunity of being able to show off amateur choreography and then getting meaningful feedback is unique to fursuit dance competitions. I haven't found anything like that outside in the professional dancer world or anything like that. It's just incredibly unique. And it's really, I mean, to me, for when I go to a furry con, if it doesn't have a fursuit dance competition, I will not go there. That's the best part of a con for me.
Yeah, it is very popular. It's a very popular event.
Yeah,
I'm all about just, creativity. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
that's okay. I was about to interject, but I mean, it's great you got the. That's so. I was about to say that is that kind of where where you kind of started the whole improvising gig. Like, where do you get your inspiration from?
Well, I mean, like the first time, to be honest, when I grew up, like musical theater and all that stuff, like I hated dance. In fact, like what I did was I was like, I only did it because I loved acting and I loved singing, and it was a little bit of sibling rivalry because my sister did all this stuff, and I was like, oh, I want to see if I can do it better. So that's kind of a big motivation, I gotta admit. I was very jealous of my sister's attention because she was great at everything. Um, but yeah, so when I got into it, I just hated dance. I liked the acting and singing part of musical theater, and I hated dance. I didn't like dance. I still don't really like community theater chorus dancing. It's a little dull to me. Um, but I didn't know about like hip hop dance. Like I really didn't know much of anything about it. I had not been exposed to it very much. So when I saw the 2013, there's a particular dance style which Michael Jackson popularized very well, called popping. And my first exposure to popping was the fursuit dance competition. And when I saw that style, like I was especially, I was my favorite dancer. Seeing it was a Snapback. She had this incredible combination of these different advanced techniques called isolation, animation, popping, and liquid, and it was all combined in it, and it's all popping style. And I was just like amazed with it. I just wanted to learn how to do it, and I didn't know anything about it, and I was just like, I just started faking it. And that's really how that's how you do it. Really, you just fake it till you make it.
Goes with a lot of things in the goes with a lot of things in the real world.
Yeah, right. So we had a couple other questions about like your perspective on how these competitions are actually like run or organized. So I mean, like for instance, let's say if you're competing against like some big names out there like Taylor, Telephone, Duke, Manguzu, and do you think like there's favoritism when it comes to judging, or like how exactly does that work? Or do you think, in your experience, have the judges pretty been mostly non-biased?
Well, of course, I mean, you have to be. There's no way to be objective when you're judging a subjective art form. And like, think about it. Like, best film, best dance. That's an oxymoron because best is a objective term, but film, that's not objective. You can never be objective about a film. Every single person in the world has a slightly different opinion about every film, every dance. It is just by nature subjective. So, of course, yes, all judges are biased, but I very much trust in the judges who are dancers themselves, and and who like JD Puppy. He has a background in competitive ballroom dancing. That's perfect. That's great. He's absolutely qualified to judge. Usually when you go to small cons, they'll do the guest of honor, or they'll do just some random person who was around at the time. And sometimes there are people who might not really know much about dancing. They're just there at the time, but that's okay. I mean, that's just what ritualistically happens at all the small cons. They'll take non-dancers to judge dancers, and that's okay. But I think the way how you get the best, I mean, again, you need dancers to judge dancers. That's my point. I mean, I think
right,
to be really fair, because if you're not a dancer, you know what you're naturally going to do? You're going to choose the cutest fursuit. That's what you're naturally going to do. You know what I mean?
the most popular, yeah, or the most famous or something. Because like and that's a good point you bring up. You know, I don't think it's necessarily all that subjective. I mean, it is to an extent, but if you are a professional dancer and like, if like, okay, let's say somebody gets up on stage and they just like move their arms and they just stand there and they're boring. Objectively, that's not competitive. That's not entertaining. So there are certain standards, to be, I guess, measured, even albeit measured in a subjective manner. But let's say if I go up against like you or telephone, and I blow you out of the water, which by the way would never happen. But let's let's just say if it did, and they still chose the more popular one. Like, have you ever seen that happen?
Let's see, off the top of my head, like I've seen people win who I was like, wait, why did they win? But in the end, it really doesn't matter who wins because it's not about winning. They're not on stage to win. Like that's the difference between fursuit dance competitions and So You Think You Can Dance. So You Think You Can Dance, or it's like about like the cash prize and winning and stuff. But with fursuit dance competitions, winning is not the primary objective. That's like who goes to fursuit games and like the number one thing they're thinking about is winning. That's people don't
Oh,
do
I do.
fursuit games for the
Oh.
winning, do they?
Oh yeah. Oh, totally. Absolutely. I'm just kidding. But I mean, my team did win the Furpocalypse Fursuit games, by the way, just so you know. Green team, shout out. Okay, sorry. But no, yeah, you're right. It really is all about fun. It's just really interesting how because there are winners in these things, and I just wanted to know how that all works. So it's really interesting.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a very different judging system with each one, or like with Califer, when I judged that, they changed the judging standards the day, like the actually just like 10 minutes before they decided to change the way the judging criteria. They changed it. Like I was like, oh, Califer.
Oof.
No.
But that was the worst judging experience I've ever had. But it's also the best because it's the only one I've ever had. But
Okay.
I like competing. I like competing and dancing and and even if I don't make it in, like the thing is the competition is so much fiercer now. Like you really can't get by just improvising if you're auditioning for Anthrocon or BLFC anymore. Now like you have to have like all the choreography boom learned, and it's got to be pretty poppin', pretty dope. So now that things are getting pretty poppin'. Now things are getting a lot more competitive. The fandom's getting much bigger. So out of the woodworks, the professionals, semi-professionals are coming out like and they're they're blowing everyone out of the water pretty much. But to be honest,
they even have groups too.
It's still fun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's still all a lot of fun. Like, I mean, like I know some people who are fursuit dancers who are also, professional dancers, teachers who have been on World of Dance, who have been on, been on bigger stages outside of the fandom. So, there's a big mix of people who, I mean, when you go to maybe a smaller con, you'll see people who have never danced in their whole life, and you'll see other people who have danced their whole life. And it's cool. It's fine. I mean, like I'm really kind of, I get a little ticked off when I see people commenting on my YouTube channel about this dancer sucks. This dancer sucks. And you look on their channel and what do they have? They have like 2 Let's Plays with 5 views. It's like, come on, you're not even dancing.
Yeah, right. Like, who are you?
It's like, oh, look at that guy on stage. What a moron. It's like, you're not on stage. You're the one sitting down watching the guy on stage. So already they're a better dancer than you. You know what I mean? Like if you think someone's a bad dancer, great. Prove that you're better. Prove that you're better. Like I'm just so sick of all the hate comments I get on my YouTube channel. It's disgusting how many lazy people who just do Let's Plays don't know how to dance, and then they think they have the right to criticize. Like, no, they don't. They really don't.
Things.
They don't. No.
I mean, it's not if it's not the thing. If it's not the quality of the dancing, that's basically prejudicing them. It's probably the suit, but I digress.
But yeah, as you see, I'm very passionate about it. But that's because I'm a little obsessed. I'm a little obsessed with fursuit dancing.
No, that's awesome. I mean, you've been to what, like over at least like 50 cons, maybe like 70.
Yeah, about 51. Yeah, I think 50. 51.
50. Yeah, 50. That's insane.
I mean, we kind of talked about this too a little bit, but now that since you've basically gone over trying to hit up everyone in the States and Canada, right? Wasn't that one?
It was one of those things where I found this. So I don't want to like advertise for these people, but Megabus, they like I was able to get from New York City to Texas and back again for $47 total.
Oh, that's how you did it. Oh my goodness.
It's the Megabus because they have these $1 deals where they'll take you from Chicago to Texas for $1, and then it's like, and those deals are all over the place with Megabus.
Wow.
Must have been a painfully long trip though.
So yeah, I tried to hit up all the cons I could find that were like, and most of the really big furry cons, they're near the big cities and they were near megabus stops. In fact, Anthrocon, like their main convention hall is a megabus stop. So to me, that's like the cheapest way to travel. Like, I mean, you want to avoid Greyhound. Greyhound's the worst. I lost my fursuit on Greyhound. Like my, if you see all the videos of me, my fursuit, yeah, that was stolen off of a Greyhound.
You mean the Cheshire Cat?
Yeah, the bodysuit of the Cheshire Cat that was stolen.
Now
off
you
of
like would you still partial?
But on the megabus, I did it a billion times. Never got anything stolen.
Wonderful. Oh,
Yeah, I remember. Like I think when we were rooming together, like 4 or 5 years ago at FAU, you're like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go to another convention like in 3 days." Like, and it was like Sunday. I'm like, "What are you talking about in 3 days?" And you're like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go across the country." And I'm like, "How? What are you what are you doing?" Then that was like my second or third con like ever, and I wasn't even thinking about going to another one because it was like a lot of money and whatnot to travel. But I was just like, "What?" And you're like, "Oh yeah," and then I'm gonna go hit up this and this and this, and you're talking about going to like 20 cons over the course of like 6 months, and I'm like, "What in the heck?" It was crazy.
Well, not 20 cons over 1 year. So what I ended up doing.
Well, maybe not that. Maybe not 6 months. I was exaggerating, but
so 2015 was a very special year for me because I decided like, hey, let's do this bucket list thing. Let's see how many cons I could go to in 1 year. And I had the money. Like I got a really good amount of money from I was a background actor for The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I worked. And even though like I only ended up on 3 frames as kind of like a dark silhouette, like even though that happened,
hey,
it
you
got
were
me a
there.
lot of
That's
extra
fine.
money. And I was able to go to 22 furry cons all in just 1 year. So what ended up happening was I think maybe 2 or 3, actually 3 times during the year, I went to 4 cons over the span of 1 month. So that's probably what you witnessed.
Wow.
Yeah. I think that's what we were talking about. Because I don't remember what year it was when, but like I do remember you talking about that, and I was just mind blown. I'm like, how? That seems impossible. But yeah, so that's another thing we wanted to talk about too.
Yeah.
Outside of dance competitions, you've been in like a lot of different movies and like commercials and like background stuff, like craziness.
I was about to basically pop in and say, like, let's just go comb through the Amazing Spider-Man for those 3 frames to find Khord.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
You just go to my Wikifur, which I wrote. Yes, I wrote my own Wikifur. So you go to my Wikifur, and then you go to the videography section. I put up a screen cap of everything I could find.
Pro tip: if you basically piss off the Wikifur mods, they'll lock you out of editing your own page, just like they did out of Foxler's.
Oh dear.
Wait,
They're total
edit
control.
his own page?
Well, Foxler's a troublemaker. That doesn't count.
No, he's a Nazi. That's the problem.
Ah well. Well, but to get back on track though, like I've been told about your impressive record of appearing of movies. There's got to be a story to how you get in, right?
Sure, I'll tell you. I wish I could say what his name was. I forgot his name, but there was a fellow student who I met in a musical theater class back in 2009 in college, and he did background acting for some film. He said he made $300 in San Francisco, and I was like, that sounds like the coolest thing ever. Like, whoa. And like, I think I was just sort of like in a daze, like, wow, I know somebody who is in a movie. Whoa. And I kept in touch with them, and I still had that bug. Like, I really wanted to do that. And then once I moved to New York City, I moved to Queens. I moved with a furry named TDK, and we lived in Queens for about 3 months. And then I found out that and then I looked on Craigslist, and then there was this one volunteer gig, which was volunteer background acting. And I met this one dude, and this really tall dude, and he told me all about this website called Casting Networks. And he said, "Oh yeah, you just join it." And he told me about this one photographer, and I just paid him $200, and he took my picture. I put my picture up there, and then like the first email I get is looking for background actors for Dark Knight Rises, and I'm like, oh boy, submit. I didn't get into it, but I just kept submitting, and all I have to do to submit is I just press like they give me an email and I say yes, and if they like my picture, then they'll contact me. And then finally that I got onto a Cuba Gooding Jr. pilot called, well, it doesn't matter. It was never picked up. It was supposed to be for Fox, but they never picked it up. They thought it was kind of a boring story. So, but that was the first time I ever did professional background acting, and then the next thing I got was Now You See Me, and I don't think I ended up on the final product of that because I saw some guy, I thought it was me, but he had a mustache. I'm like, I don't have a mustache.
Oh,
But
dude, yeah.
but that was my very first movie, and then I just kept submitting, and I kind of realized what the game was. Like, the game is whoever submits first will most likely get the job. So I downloaded an app on my phone, and I downloaded a Thunderbird on my computer so that I would get instant notifications for an email. And what ended up happening was I ended up getting more gigs than everyone else around me. Everyone else was like, "Yeah, I worked 2 times a week." I'm like, "Really? I've been working 5 times a week." They're like, "Really?" It's like, "Yeah, because I downloaded this app that tells me instantaneously about my emails." They're like, "Really?" And then they downloaded it, and they
No,
so
don't give away your secrets.
I know I should not have done that.
Oh.
But
No, that's awesome. That's awesome.
and then I just kept doing it for 4 years, and it was, I mean, like my schedule was as versatile as I wanted it to be, because it would be like I get an email, "Do you want to work on this movie for this day?" And I'd be like, "Yes," and then if they contact me back, then that means I could be a part of it. That was my
Great.
roommates.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so you've been on Law and Order, Anchorman 2, Wolf on Wall Street, all kinds of really like big name stuff. That's pretty awesome.
And the number one thing that people ask me, like, "Oh wow, did you get to hang out with Leonardo DiCaprio?" It's like, actually, no. We are not allowed to talk to any of the, or we're not allowed to talk to any of the principal actors. If we do, we will get in big trouble. It's because, like, when you have like a really big movie star, like if you have every single background actor going up to him going like, "Oh wow, you're so cool, I like you in this movie," then time is money. There's like a freaking like 100, like 200 crew members on site, like 100 background actors. You can't waste time at all.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I thought it was just because they were very pretentious. "Oh, I'm Leonardo DiCaprio. You cannot speak with me, you peasant."
But I will say, with Martin Scorsese, they told us to not even look at him. We had to look down.
Okay,
That's
that's overboard. Come on.
Well, I asked the crew member, and he said, "Well, if you give the background actors an inch, they take a mile." I'm like, that's honestly how it is. That is very true. Once you start making eye contact, you start smiling at them. Once you start smiling at them, you start to say something. Once you say something, you're in a conversation, and it's like, again, that's wasting time, wasting money. So I completely understand why they don't allow eye contact. The thing I don't understand is when I went to BronyCon, how come they don't let anyone share the elevator with Lauren Foss? Like, to me, that is ridiculous, but that's just me.
Oh, well, I think I can understand some reasons why they might not want to do that. However, I don't think they're appropriate to be sharing on stream. And I shall leave it at
It's like even Lauren Foss is like, doesn't want the brony cooties.
No, she does not.
I mean, there's a personal fundamental difference between movie stars and Lauren Faust.
There is.
Lauren Faust, she has to freaking bear the cancer of her own, of her own fans that that have grown up on 4chan.
It's so sad. That poor
I'm
woman.
I'm sorry for changing the subject.
No, it's fine.
No, trust me, background acting is, I think it's the best job in the world. Honestly, like, it barely pays anything, but like, who cares,
Did you ever get a speaking role in any of the movies you starred in?
Let's see. You know what? I kind of did, kind of didn't. Basically, what happened was they dubbed over my voice with a Kazakhstan actor. It was a Kazakhstan movie. It was kind of funny. Like, I improvised a whole scene, and then they dubbed over my voice. Once they got back to, like, it was, so Kazakhstan only has one film company, and they did this one company called Salam New York. And yeah, so that was as close as I could get to a speaking role. And then there was also this one TV show where one of the principal actors was playing I think a waitress at a table, and she said hi, and I said hi, back, and that was it. That was my only speaking role out of my whole career on TV.
Hey, well, you know what? That's pretty cool. Because think about that guy in Lord of the Rings. You know, Isildur. That actor only had one line. He's like, no. You know, when Elrond asks him to destroy the ring, that actor only had one line, one word, and it was no. It was spoken very deeply and very profound, but that was it. Yeah, but Isildur is a very important character. I mean, if he chose to destroy the ring, the War of the Ring would never have happened. But that's it. So your high was very important.
I've never really been
like,
I've only been an important character once. They had there's this show called Monsters Inside Me where they had a reenactment where this little kid swallowed this little battery that got lodged in his throat. It was a really sad story. But God. I played the dad, so that was the first time I had to hold a baby, and I was like, oh, this is so confusing. But I was basically playing the dad in the reenactment. So this is Monsters Inside Me, episode 5, season 9. And that was the biggest. That's probably the only time I've actually had a role that had any significance at all to the plot.
That's actually something else we wanted to get into. Raising a family, like in the fandom. So you know, like you said, holding a baby for the first time. It just reminded me of that. Like, so you're a father. Like that's amazing.
Got baby number 2 on the way. Second furry ready to come out.
Wait. Oh, really? You do? I didn't even know about that. Oh,
yeah,
congrats.
So Damien is almost 2 years old, and after he turns 2, we are having another baby. His name's going to be Perry, and he is going to be furry number 2, another boy.
Wow! Congratulations!
Thank you.
How many months left to go?
Well, it's expected around they said January 8th, but it's never exact. So I'm guessing just expected somewhere around New Year's.
Okay.
Someone said Khord suit is so cute. Thank you. I appreciate it. It was made by someone named, I think, Kimosuki.
Yeah, it is pretty cute. Oh, yeah, that's right. You can see the comments now. That's cool.
Yeah, So, on the side note though, when you got that little gig, you never imagined, last time you'd actually be holding your very own baby.
It's one of those things where I've always wanted to have a family for a long time. And I mean, I love my family. My family became my friends, and I love the idea of having a nice big family. And when I first met my wife, before we were hooked up, I was like, I'd just love to have a big family sometime in the future. And she comes from a family of farmers. I've been studying a lot of genealogy lately, and I figured out all of her ancestors all the way back, 7 generations. They're all farmers, and farmers are, well, they have at least 10 kids each.
So is that going to be the goal?
Well, she's a bunny, so you do the math. I mean,
now we're basically throwing down furry stereotypes now, huh? You and me both, the Khord family's baby factory.
Yep, we're gonna be a little baby factory. But I mean, with parenting, honestly, that's the hardest part is finding agreements. Because I mean, I love my wife, but she has her own opinions on how to parent. I have my opinions about how to parent, and coming to a compromise is the hardest part of parenting. It's not the baby rearing, it's not the changing diapers. It is absolutely. Oh gosh, someone said a naughty question. I'm not gonna read that. I'm trying to keep. I mean, my baby's right next to me, so I want to try to keep it nice and. I was about to say PC, but nice and.
Oh joy! Why would you ask this in chat?
Oh my God! Have you seen the latest South Park episode? Yeah, have you seen a South Park episode with the PC babies? It was the best. It was amazing.
Oh my goodness, I have not seen that.
Right. Oh, it's so good. Someone would say something that wasn't politically correct, and the little babies would start.
Oh, speaking of politically correct, though, I mean, off the air, we basically knew what does Damien hate?
Oh yeah, like that. He's like, don't trigger the baby. Oh yeah, his preferred pronoun is "ga."
Does Ga hate SJWs? Yes. Yeah, you are teaching him well, good sir.
I don't know, but no, actually, what I was saying before the podcast is the one time when I found somebody who was an S. Like I don't really run into SJWs, but the one person who identified as a SJW, I was like, okay, what's the thing about SJWs? What's your goal? And they're like, to fight racists. And I'm like, wow, I guess I'm an SJW too. Fight racists, fight racists, fight. And it's like, wow, that's really simple. Cool. Let's all join the club. Sounds simple enough.
And effectively, you just oh crap! Oh, he dropped out for. Isn't he trying to read the comments? I think he is.
Oh.
Yeah, he. Oh god, you gave us a scare, man.
Oh, sorry about that. I had to go into the live chat.
Don't
So-
worry, leave that to me.
I had to drop out for a second, but should be
yeah,
all good
Khord.
now.
Let me just say this. I
all good.
vouch your experience as a father, and I want to emulate you if you basically teach your kid like this. Insert image of me bowing down to you.
Well, actually, one big
Oh.
way I've been teaching him
Wait.
is I would show him like educational cartoons that had like ABC and 1, 2, 3 and stuff. Like I never show him something stupid like Paw Patrol. Like Paw Patrol. If you watch an episode of Paw Patrol, it's not educational at all. Like
Oh my god, my
there's
little
probably some
cousin
idiot
loves
parents. There's some idiot parents out there who'll probably say, "Oh, look, it has teamwork. They're all working together as a team. That's educational." Just want to slap, 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 because it's like it's as educational as Power Rangers, and that's how you make babies with a brain made of goo. Like you have to show them something that's educational. You know what I mean? Like that's
something to
So-
drill into their mind when their brains are young and impressionable.
Yeah, like I only show him the educational ones, and it's incredible. Like he's only at 21 months old, and he's already saying his ABCs. He's able to like almost count up to 10, and it's like, yes, that's the right videos to show him. Because I love my sister, and she has the most wonderful son, Billy. But Billy has memorized every character of Cars, and for some reason, I don't want my son to memorize every character of Cars, so I'm not going to show him Cars.
Okay. Gotta pick your priorities.
Yeah, I'm very careful. Like, I very much think Disney is not educational, so
No,
I don't want to show my
that's a
son
good
Disney.
parent right there.
I mean, come on, Disney, like, they started out with throwing innocent animals off of a cliff. You know, I don't want them to tell me how my son's morality should be. Come on.
Well, okay.
I mean, going in the direction Disney's headed towards, I would not trust Disney at all to educate my children.
I mean, it's
the
like
years
with
ahead.
Apple. Like Steve Jobs was genius and great, and Apple was great until Steve Jobs died, and then it turned to poop. Same thing. You could say you could argue almost the same thing with Disney. I mean, the only thing that really kept the magic alive was Alan Menken, and his songs were like, boom, that made the '90s golden era just perfect.
Yeah. So
And then it all went downhill.
Yeah. So before we do that though, there's a little irky thing I want to ask about that's kind of related to what we're talking about. Since you have a son, do you think is the fandom? I mean, there's people I know that have been very contentious about this question. Is the fandom an acceptable place for children to be around, or should children be in the fandom?
Absolutely, children should be the fandom. They are the future of the fandom, and I keep thinking about like all these awful experiences. Like when I went to Further Confusion, and I went to their family friendly what do you call it? The main shopping area. I completely forgot what you call that. Dealer's Den. So I went to the Dealer's Den, and they had this pornographic picture, and they were only covering up the nipples with like a tiny sticker. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, that's not. There's children around, and this is a children-friendly area. Why would you have something like that? So, I mean, I feel like there are some improvements that need to be made through the management of various conventions, but for the most part, no. Like, the children are the future of the fandom. People should keep their pup masks and fetish wares inside of rooms where they belong, not outside.
that's
Yeah.
that's a very good point. Even at Anthrocon, when I was at Anthrocon just a few months ago, I went into the Westin, into the lobby, and there was like 5 people. They just got back from like some kind of puppy party or something. They all had like the hoods on and like the leather and whatnot. And then right next to them, there was like a little kid. I mean, he must have been maybe like 8, with like little like ears and a tail on, with like his mom. And they just walked by. They didn't really say anything, but I was just standing there like watching this scene, and I'm like, these two things probably should not be mixing together in this way. It was weird, it was weird to see that. Because
I mean, I got an argument with someone about it like last week. They were saying, "Oh, it's okay, kids could handle it." And it's like, that's not the problem. Like, sure, I'm sure kids could handle watching hardcore porn. Yeah, I'm sure they'll be just fine after watching that. But you know what? The person showing them porn, that is the problem to begin with. That's the point. That's the whole point. It's the adults letting them see it. That's the real issue. You know what I mean? Like, your parents should have some control.
My thing is, I'm not really a big fan of censorship, so I think it might be better if we had cons specifically 18 plus, so that we don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. Would that make
Motor
more
City
sense?
Fur Con. Yeah, Motor City Fur Con is the only 18 plus I could think of.
Right. So more stuff like that, because a lot of the rules at other cons are very ambiguous, and like I said, I'm not really a big fan of the whole censorship thing, but I also do think it's kind of strange if people in leather and pup hoods and fetish gear are walking around, like 7-year-olds and their moms. That just looks not so great,
I mean, like, the thing is, there's people who demonize the fandom like all the time. They're like, oh, they're a bunch of pervs, a bunch of weirdos, a bunch of fetishists. And people who put fetish wares next to their children, those are the ones that are enabling them. They're enabling the criticisms of the fandom. I mean, we're never going to become a mainstream accepted fandom if we don't start thinking about the welfare of children. Like, if you're going to have a family-friendly area, make it family-friendly. If you're going to have an adult-only area, great, have pornography on the walls. I don't care. But I mean, come on, you don't force parents to hide their children's eyes. That's ridiculous.
No, but either keep it separate. In my opinion, I think that would be pretty beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not for censorship either. I hate censorship. I think censorship's the worst. Absolutely, but
like you said, if there's gonna be kids, what happened? Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I quite agree with what you guys are hitting. So.
Oh, sorry, my screen just went black for a second. But what you said before is, like, if there's kids walking around at a con and they're scrolling through like an art book and there's only like a piece of tape covering up the nipples, okay, maybe a kid probably shouldn't be looking at that art book to begin with. There's no need to have that happen.
Well, I mean, you assume the parents are there, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm not too worried about that, If the parents lets them look at an art book that's marked adults, like, oh, okay, well, you're the parent, you make the decisions.
That's another thing I wanted to ask you about. Being a parent in this fandom, is it like, how different is it? Before you were married, which, guys, by the way, if you didn't know, Khord got married at a furry con, and it was epic. But like how is it different? Like bringing a child to a convention, like, is it like, how does that affect you or anything?
Well, it has been something that my wife and I have gotten into big arguments about, because what would happen is, what would happen is she would want to do her stuff. She'd want to go to like maybe 1 or 2 panels, and then I told her, all right, I'll watch the baby during those 1 or 2 panels, and then the whole con goes by, and then she says, I wanted you to watch him more. I'm like, I didn't know that. You should have told me. I'll watch him more. And then we get into big arguments about it. But other than that, during the con, that is when things are pretty peachy keen, peaceful, great. And I mean, like, there's one thing I'm thinking about. Like, there's I had a nephew who came to the wedding, who had never seen furries before. He was 5 years old, and he said, wow, this is better than Disneyland. Like, he literally said that. So, yeah.
That's great.
It's cheaper.
Yeah.
It's cheaper and better. So I agree with that. Yeah.
I saw the video of it. It was great. Yeah, the video, guys. Check out the video of his wedding. It's online. On
It's on
YouTube.
Khord Kitty's YouTube channel, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
could
it's
just
on
look
the
up
channel.
Bun Bun Wedding. Like I looked up Bun Bun Wedding, and it's there. I actually a lot of things went wrong during the wedding. Like her mom wanted to like fix her hair a bit more, and then there was a delay and everything. But I edited it so it looks super smooth.
Ah, okay,
uh,
nice.
is this the part where you also say, where you also start advertising your channel and telling us all to subscribe?
You don't
Yeah,
have to
right.
subscribe. Like I know all those people, like everybody on YouTube's like, make sure to click the like, fave, and subscribe button and press the little bell. It's like, I hate that. I hate that. I'm like, okay, if you want to do that, do it yourself. I'm not gonna demand you do something just because I need more attention. I was like, if someone subscribes to
Oof.
my channel, they just like my content, and that's all
Yeah,
that matters. This is just
probably
Oof.
so
probably for the
needy.
best though.
I d-
YouTubers are very needy. They need your subscribe. It's like, no, come on.
Quality
that's
content
funny.
matters more. Quality content and frequency.
How do I get 1,000 subscribers? Put up good content. Oh.
Make sure people know what they want,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
do it
Point.
on a frequentish basis.
I mean,
Yeah, decide your niche.
typically at the end of these podcasts, I always do that. I'm like, but I say it in like a pretty sarcastic manner. But I'm like, hey, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the Raiders. Ah.
Desperation. It's just desperation. It's like
No, yeah, I know.
so much
It's funny.
desperation.
I hate
It's
like
my
in the middle. I hate when they do that like in the middle of videos. It's like if it's like a top 10 list, like, oh, before we get to number one, did you know that I have a Patreon? Would you like to subscribe and hit the bell? I'm like, dude, just get to number one. I don't care. Like, God, no,
Yeah.
now I'm not gonna subscribe to you. Oh, sorry,
mhm.
I said, God. Is your son offended?
Oh, my son is totally stomping on some blueberries right now.
Oh,
I'm
goodness.
gonna have to do a major cleanup after this interview.
The
I should.
joys of parenting.
Yeah.
So, nonetheless, though, I think you're gonna have to come up with a new pronoun for your second son.
Or should we call them fur nouns?
Uh,
God, no, please.
I think you
Please let
deserve
that
to
not be a
back
thing.
up the head for that.
I don't know if this is offensive, but there's this one guy, and I was asking him like, what's your pronoun? And it's like girl, and I'm like, no, that's a noun. What's your pronoun? Her. I'm like, okay, what's your adjective? What's your favorite adverb? And he was like, I'm confused. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Well,
The joke was too complicated.
I think it's a very sad world where people have to ask what your preferred pronouns are if they can't tell, if they don't have eyes and common sense. It's like, oh, well, what are your pronouns? Well, gee, what do you think? Like,
It,
is your head
well, I
screwed on
mean,
straight?
it has to do with catering to people's emotions, and that is, I mean, that is what politically correct is all about. And I mean, they see it as a respect issue. And I mean, I'm not going to be one of those types that goes up to somebody's.
It's not a respect
trans-
issue. I'm gonna say that much. It's about a thing, or attention issue. Like I demand this and this attention to feel good about myself because I'm inadequate in certain areas.
And that is, I mean, like, there's a lot of people whose morality system is based off of what makes you feel better or what makes them feel better. So you should always, like, that's kind of the basis of the liberal mindset is, okay, let's do what makes the most people feel the best. This is, I think, utilitarianism. I don't know the exact word for it, but that's the idea. Like their basis of morality depends upon how they feel after a certain group of words are said, and
That's
that's
funny.
why a lot of
Morality.
conservative speech is being censored on the internet and
Yeah.
YouTube. It's because it makes me feel uncomfortable, so I'm gonna block it.
Yeah, they don't care.
There's one last area of discussion I wanted to cover. Where do you think this fandom is headed towards?
It's going to get younger and younger and younger. It's getting larger and larger. It is spreading to states that had never seen a fur con ever before. It is like Texas already has two, I think three fur cons. Like they're spreading like wildfires, and like
Mhm.
so it's again, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. But when it comes to politics, I mean, it really ends up reflecting the normal political climate. You know what I mean? Like the normal political climate right now is.
I fully understand you, because the people on the left are the majority demographic in furry, and that does not help at all.
Yeah.
I mean, importantly, like I've never heard. I mean, like I've heard a lot of people say, ban hate speech. That's not protected speech, and that's that's not true.
Well,
It is protected speech.
Yes, it
but
is. Yes,
but
it
I
is.
haven't heard a liberal say they're pro censorship, which is good. That's a really good thing to hear, because I believe in the free exchange of ideas, and I think what's going on is a lot of people, they hear speech that make them feel uncomfortable, so they misconstrue it as hate speech. Like, I mean, like if you hear Ben Shapiro, he might make a lot of people very uncomfortable, but he's saying an awful lot of facts and figures, which is a little concerning. If facts and figures make you uncomfortable, then maybe there's something wrong with you as opposed to the person stating that. Does that make sense?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Now, the thing about furry is like it is the political divide that's basically going to cause it to crash especially in light of certain events and characters.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. I've got a baby talking here. He's very cute right now.
it's all right. I mean, you'd at least agree that there's a certain level of politicization and certain loudmouth characters that are causing to split a bit. So, I mean,
yes, but remember, those are the 1%. Like the 1%, there's always the 1% of people who are very vocal. Those are the ones you hear about in the news, in all of the posts on Facebook. They're all complaining about the 1%, and then the 99%, which are just kind of normal, everyday, average dudes. They're or dudettes or whatever. But you know what I mean? Like most people are pretty peaceful, moderate, easygoing, and those are the ones that no one ever writes news stories or updates about.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
agreed.
So, I mean, like, if people say, "Oh my God, furries are getting crazier and crazier and ruder and ruder," it's like, no, not really. It's just that our communication has gotten better. We've been able to look at the people who are the 1% who are causing all the trouble and mixing the pot, and being able to show them off more and more. You know what I mean? But I think ultimately, it's just communication is getting heightened. More people are communicating in social networks. I don't think people are going crazier. It's just the 1%. They're just getting louder and louder, and they'll continue getting louder and louder. And
I mean,
you're going to run into extremists who try to blind themselves and become trans blind.
Majority of furries just really don't care about this mess, though.
Yeah, and yeah, you did bring up a good point about how the fandom is spreading, and a lot of the members are getting younger and younger. Because like a few years ago, when I started going to cons, I didn't really see too many kids under the age of like 18. Like I really didn't see it that much, especially like at FAU and like the New Year's Furry Ball, all those places I would go to. But it wasn't really up until like, I don't know, 2 years ago when I really started well, okay, Anthrocon is different, but like even at like a lot of the smaller cons, like there's a lot more kids just getting into it. I guess they feel comfortable, and like they bring their parents along, which I thought was really weird, especially if their parents aren't furries. But it's really cool because like you're in a position where you've been in the fandom for so long, and you have your own kids, and you're bringing them to cons, and you're somehow, I mean, are you like making it work? Like it seems like you are.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like it's like just look at like we got a lot of videos up with Damien interacting with the fursuiters, and it's the cutest thing ever. I mean, sure, he's never gonna remember it, but it's the cutest thing ever, honestly.
Well, he could always look back on the videos and be like, oh wow, that's cool. I mean, hey, I remember when I was like 2 years old. I do remember this. I had Barney the dinosaur, well, a guy in a Barney costume, at my birthday party, and it was the best thing in the world. And I have pictures of it.
I have this memory when I was in first grade and I was at Chuck E. Cheese, and I remember the kids attacking Chuck E. Cheese, pulling on his tail, kicking him. I was like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh my God, I'm glad I'm not that mouse right now.
Yeah, right. I would hate to be that guy. Oh goodness.
I experienced the exact same thing. I was at the Botanical Gardens in Brooklyn in fursuit. Oh, I was attacked by those kids. Attacked. It was brutal.
What?
Oh God. Oh, and you were also in that I think this was Vancouver when a bunch of the Syrian refugees
Oh God,
they met
no.
you.
Oh God, no! What do you mean? Oh God, no! It was cute.
I mean, that's
Oh, I'm just saying that was another instance of I would say culture shock. Can you imagine like coming from a war-torn country and the first thing you see is guys dressed up in like giant cartoon animal suits? Like that would be the weirdest thing to me if I was like 7 or something, and I came from like Syria or Iraq, and I was like, what the heck? What is happening in America? I
So
should
what
go
you
back to
didn't
where I came
see,
from.
what you didn't see on the video was there was this one kind of long hallway on the other end of Vancouver, and there was a bunch of kids, and then like we would start walking towards the kids, and then they would sprint away and like hide behind their parents, and then they would like
Oh,
sprint away, and then after
oh,
about
they
5
should have
minutes,
showed that.
yeah, that was like really early on. Like at some point, like someone noticed, like, hey, look, it looks like the kids and the fursuiters are playing. Let's take out a camera. But at first they were for the first 5 minutes they were afraid of us and they were running away. And then suddenly they were grabbing our hands and jumping up and down, and everyone was having fun.
Wow. All right.
Hey, it's better than being murdered by ISIS, right? I mean, like,
it's yeah, that's something I can concede, definitely.
I mean, the parents, like, they appear to be kind of expressionless. They were kind of just chillaxing, like they were just sort of, they were chillaxing, but they didn't seem like, when I looked at them, they didn't seem to be like, they were just kind of like, you know, they're like just watching their kids and seeing what was going on, observing. Like they were going through the real culture shock, but in a weird way, the kids seemed like they were right at home.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah. At this stage, I just like to open up the line to questions and answers that you may ask us, or you can ask us our guest called Kitty. You can feel free to post them up in the live comments and we'll read them, or otherwise,
Oh, yes. And before we do that, I would just like to mention a nice shout out to our new channel that we just got yesterday called Furry Raiders Gaming. On that channel, which will be streaming on Saturdays, it's going to be talking about a lot of issues in the gaming community, and as well as live streams of playing games and whatnot. So if you're into that, please do check it out.
Yeah, I mean, I've not exactly gotten all the specifics, and even, I mean, that stuff is outside of my jurisdiction. So
Yeah, I mean it's still very very new, but it's launch. Well, it's launching right now. So
Because of course there's not enough Let's Plays out there. Oh.
hey. You
I
know
mean,
what?
streaming is a
You know
big,
what?
big way of
It a lot of people like that stuff, and it's really
It's
fun.
still
Oversaturating the market. Oops,
Come
sorry,
on.
did I say that?
Come on. It's cool. All right. Whatever.
I'm not
actually
hating. I'm
good
not hating.
too.
I know there are people who enjoy that. I don't, but that's okay. That's okay. Keep up the good work. I'm sure it's really dope.
All right. Well, hopefully it will be. It didn't really start
Everyone
yet,
go
but
watch it.
well, yeah, right. Shameless plug. Like, comment, and
what?
subscribe.
Yeah. All right, I got one little question. Can I smack candy corn for you, Jolt? No, I can do that myself.
What? Why? What?
Anubis
What
don't
I
ask
do?
that. Oh God.
Anubistan. What I do? Who hurt you? All right. So, does anybody have any questions for Khord or anything about that?
I mean, it's oddly enough, this past couple of months have been very slow for every one of us, but even for the wider community, I think. I actually wanted to ask Khord, has the furry community kind of slowed down a little bit in terms of online activity on your end?
Not really. No, it's getting bigger than ever, especially when we were catching people doing illegal stuff and then we ostracize them and tell them to kill themselves. Oh no, that is that is filling up my feed to the max. Multiple people.
Uh,
Yeah, that one was a whole another can of worms.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I was genuinely asking like if it's like small talk and like everyday appearances in chats like these, because I feel like I don't know. I don't know if it's just me or if we like are some people just burning out on furry or something.
Well, no, there's absolutely people who just sort of leave the fandom because they're sick of the politics, or maybe they meet one person who takes advantage of them financially, or maybe they meet somebody who is a jerk and they're like, oh, well, this one person's a jerk, so I guess the group that he's a part of is a jerk. And no, I've seen people come and leave and come and go, and then they're like, I'm never gonna join this group again, and the next week they're updating, hey, I just want to say I'm back. I just had I was going through a dark time. So yeah, I mean, it's the
Yeah.
fandom is
There's
and
a
will
lot of
always be a
memes.
revolving door.
Yeah, there's a lot of memes about that. Like, one does not simply leave the furry fandom. I'm like, they really. Oh, all right. So we got a question here from Ice Kitsune. Oh, geez. Did
Read it.
Khord ever have to say "Oy vey" in the school play?
I was in the chorus. Chorus never gets lines.
Oh, you didn't get to say "Oy vey"? That would have been great.
No oy veys.
Okay.
It was funny. Like we had rap songs though. Like imagine a bunch of little Jewish kids saying rap songs in the mid '90s. It was very funny.
Yo, I'm selling gefilte fish on the corner. If you want to buy some, it'll be $1.
I have never, for the record, ever listened to any of that stuff or like legitimate Hebrew rap, and
I just made that up right now. I don't know.
I
But yeah,
mean, maybe my interest in it maybe peaked because of it, but
if that's a thing, that's really funny.
It
Okay.
was so funny. Like
Oh,
I
oh
don't
my
know
goodness.
who made a children's theater show and thought, all right, let's add rap. Jewish kids rapping, yeah, that'll work out great. And it did. It was a weird, strangely catchy. Like I'm very tempted to actually post the musical on YouTube. It's a very tempted because I have the video. It's just
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
yeah, it's wacky.
That's pretty funny.
Um,
All right.
next question. Godric, who runs for the gaming chat, says, "What is Khord's favorite season of the year?"
My favorite season has always been, well, let's see. You know what? My genes are mostly from Russia, so I this is a true story. I went outside several times from the New York City apartment while it was 27 degrees and I had nothing but shorts and a t-shirt on, and I was just sort of walking up and like to go pay my rent, walked 5, 6, 7 blocks, and I felt nothing. So I'll have to say winter because I'm just like cold doesn't bother me.
Oh my goodness. Well, how do you deal with being so hot, like in a fursuit, like on stage with the lights on you, and like in a full body digigrade, everything dancing around and actually like winning and whatnot? Like, damn,
I get
that must
drenched.
be.
I get drenched.
My goodness. Okay. Well.
One little other, just one little other question I can deal with. Diogo Ferreira asks, "How did searching for furry lead me here?" I don't know. Didn't you type the first thing that like furry on the YouTube search bar? I mean, this is
Well,
basically a stream that's happening now. But hey,
and it is the name. I mean, Furry Raiders. It's furry. That's like half the name right there.
I put furry on the tags for search.
Oh, and that too. Hey, awesome.
But other than that, though, I think that's kind of all we've basically got all the time that we've got.
Someone
You
said,
got a little, yeah.
I'm Lamb said the furry fandom is dying and is irrelevant now. Oh,
I mean,
thanks
here's
for
the
being
thing that I
positive,
want to
dude.
inject in with this. I'm not going to say it's demographically dead because of the growth rate and all that. I'm rather going to say that it's the heart and soul of the fandom is dying. So on that front, I can agree. Is it irrelevant? It's basically
No.
died down from this limelight, but it's just that news outlets just prop it up from time to time. So
Oh, and Ice Kitsune, how much vodka does Khord drink? 0. I don't drink any alcohol. I don't like the taste, and yeah, I don't drink.
Wow. Shameful Russian.
I mean, you're not Khord. I mean, you already know you're not the only Russian in the room right now.
Yes, I am.
Oh, very nice, very nice. I've been doing my genealogy stuff, and everything stops at 1850 when Hitler destroyed all of the Jewish records, and it's like, oh, thanks a lot, Hitler. God.
Oh, goodness. Oh, can I hear Candy Corn say something in Russian to Khord Kitty? Sure. Я люблю меня юг, which means I love you, my friend.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
One last question. Ask you to ask. Khord, does your family rush B?
Does my family rush B? What does that mean?
You're not really much into games, are you, Khord?
Not at all. I mean, like I'm good at Tetris.
But not like the modern stuff, like the popular video games, the Counter Strikes that Rush B came from, that Russian players usually say out loud.
Nope.
I see. So that's a dead ringer note. Anyway, that's pretty much most of the time we have for Khord. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you for inviting me. I had a lot of fun, and this was ridiculously easy to set up. I mean, I'm very used to going like, okay, where are my headphones? Where's my microphone? Okay, I got to test my microphone. Oh no, it's the wrong input. Oh no, it's the wrong output, and it's chaos. But no, this is ridiculously simple. Holding my phone, and now I'm on a podcast. Like, wow. Jeez,
Yeah,
really
and you
easy.
sound great too. I mean, you're coming in clear. Everything's working out great.
Oh, why? Thank you.
I mean, this
that?
actually went quite well for all concerned.
That's me doing my radio voice, like, hey, how you doing, guys? Hey,
Oh my.
So,
Right.
Khord, have you got any little last final words to say?
Absolutely. My final words to say are, everyone, if you disagree with someone, then listen to them even more. And that's what I want to say. Listen to people who you disagree with. That's how I learned to really be understanding of everyone else around me. And I mean, I grew up in a liberal Democratic family, and so what did I do? I only listened to conservatives. And that helped me sort of understand the world a lot better, because it's like, so again, listen to people you disagree with.
That's a good sentiment to have. That we wish we'd more in the world.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Like my dad actually was concerned about all the conservative radio I was listening to, so he bought me a book by Alan Combs, and I never touched it.
Oh, no, I haven't touched a lot of stuff that I bought. But that's an aside, though. Just one last thing before we do wrap up. Are you willing to divulge any of your what your future plans are? Like,
I'm not going to be going to any furry con for well over a year. I'm going to be stuck inside my house with 2 babies for a very long time. Yep, that's my future plans. But,
all right. Well,
yeah,
you got to do that parenting thing.
I mean,
it's
not,
my
no,
priority.
not yet though. But I mean, it's I was just also about to say, you're basically like what, you stay-at-home dad at the moment.
Yep, full time.
Ah,
Okay.
yeah. All right. I think it's time. This is all the time we've got for the moment. Thanks to everyone who listened. I hope you had fun, and you enjoyed the show. And we'll see you all. Well, minus Khord. I mean, you'd be back here like maybe sometime in the future. Maybe if you're up for it.
Yep, that sounds good. Yeah.
Great. It'd be awesome to have you on again.
Yeah, we'll just give you give us a ring, and maybe one day in the future we'll basically work something out.
That sounds right. I'm very much. I actually tried to get on last week's show and the week before that. I think I heard there was a 2, and I was like, oh, 2.
We had
having
Genesius
2.
on the show too, like one time.
Yeah.
And he like everyone. I mean, we're all amenable to having you guys on again.
Yeah, I mean, I respect anyone who's a comedian. Comedians are the best people.
Right on.
Yeah. So with that, we all bid you farewell. Until next time.
Until next time, absolutely.
All right. Bye.
All right, gaga.